I've never thought of myself as the kind of person who would end up in the middle of a love triangle, much less as someone who would betray the person who trusted me most. I always saw myself as steady, loyal, predictable even. But life has a way of peeling back layers you didn't know you had, testing you in ways that make you realize you're not as simple or as righteous as you once believed. When I think about the story I'm about to tell, it doesn't even feel like my own life sometimes. It feels like a confession I'm borrowing from someone else, a character in a novel who stumbled into a plot he couldn't control. And yet, every word of it is mine. Every mistake, every thrill, every guilty morning after stare in the mirror. It all belongs to me. I suppose I should start at the point where my life was still normal. I was 32 when everything began. 32, married for 5 years, settled into a routine that was neither miserable nor particularly exciting. My wife, Anna, and I had met in our mid-20s when everything felt like it was still ahead of us. She was kind, reliable, gentle in a way that grounded me. She worked as a nurse, often on late shifts, while I managed a small design firm. We weren't passionate in the way we used to be, but we were comfortable. And comfort, I told myself, was the foundation of a good marriage. At least that's what I believed. Then came Elena. She was the new project manager at our firm. Younger than me by 6 years, sharp-tongued, funny in a way that cut through the air like a spark. From the moment she walked into the office, she carried herself with a confidence that unsettled me. She wasn't the type to blend in. Even her flaws, like the way she laughed too loud in meetings or the occasional sharpness of her temper, drew attention instead of repelling it. The first time we spoke outside of work was at a client dinner. I'd had a couple of glasses of wine, enough to soften my usual reserve, and she asked me point blank, "So, how's married life? Is it really as boring as everyone says?" I remember laughing, though my throat tightened at her boldness. "It depends on the marriage," I said.
"Mines stable."
"Stable?" she repeated, tilting her glass of red wine toward me. That sounds like code for boring. I should have taken it as a harmless joke, brushed it off. But the truth was, it hit too close. And instead of correcting her, instead of saying something protective of Anna, I just smiled faintly and let the conversation move on. Looking back now, I know that was the first seed. The first quiet betrayal wasn't a kiss or a touch. It was silence. My silence. Elena and I grew closer quickly after that. Not in a way that was inappropriate, at least not yet, but in ways that blurred lines I should have protected. Coffee breaks turned into private jokes. Meetings ended with lingering conversations. She had a way of making me feel seen. Not just as her boss, not just as a married man going through the motions, but as someone interesting, someone alive. And maybe that's what scared me most. The realization of how badly I wanted to feel alive again. At home, Anna was still Anna, loving, patient, dependable. But the contrast between the two women became sharper every day. Anna would ask about my day, listening with genuine care, but her eyes were tired, her voice weary from another 12-hour shift. Elena, on the other hand, demanded stories from me, teased out details, made me laugh in ways I hadn't laughed in years. One night, I came home late after working with Elena on a proposal. Nothing had happened, nothing physical at least, but my mind was restless, buzzing with her voice. Anna was already asleep, curled on her side, the lamp still glowing faintly by her nightstand. I stood there for a long time watching her, guilt pressing against my ribs. I remember whispering, though she couldn't hear me, "I haven't done anything wrong." But I knew I had already started. That was the beginning, the quiet unraveling of the man I thought I was. If part 1 was about beginnings, this part is about borders, those invisible lines we tell ourselves we'll never cross, until one day we do, and it feels less like a decision and more like gravity. The first time I realized Elena wasn't just a colleague, wasn't just a friend, was a rainy Thursday night. We had been working late at the office, putting the finishing touches on a client presentation. Everyone else had left, the storm outside pounding against the tall windows, trapping us in a kind of suspended intimacy. At some point, Elena leaned back in her chair, stretching with an exaggerated groan. God, if I keep staring at these numbers, I'm going to lose my mind, she said, her voice breaking into a laugh. Don't, I replied, half smiling. I need your sanity if I'm going to survive this project. She looked at me then, not just looked, but looked the way people do when they're measuring you, deciding if you're more than what you seem. Her eyes lingered a second too long. Your wife doesn't get jealous? She asked suddenly. The question caught me off guard. Of what? Of this? She said, waving between us. Late nights. Locked in an office. Me corrupting you with my bad jokes. She trusts me? I answered too quickly, too firmly, as if saying it with enough certainty would make it true. Elena smirked, leaning forward across the desk. Good. Then I can steal as much of your time as I want. It was playful. It was harmless. At least, that's what I told myself when I laughed with her, even though something in my chest burned with the thrill of being wanted, or at least hinted at being wanted. The following weeks blurred. I found myself looking for her in the office without realizing it. Her voice became the background to my days. Her texts, short, sarcastic, often sent late at night, became sparks that lit up evenings I once spent scrolling numbly through my phone while Anna watched television beside me. Anna started noticing, though she didn't accuse me of anything. She'd ask why I was smiling at my phone, or why I suddenly seemed more invested in work than usual. I brushed it off with practiced ease. Deadlines, clients, stress. The lies came too easily, like slipping into a jacket that already fit me perfectly. The first physical touch that lingered happened after another client dinner. We'd both had too much wine, the kind that warms your body and dulls your judgment. We were leaving the restaurant when Elena stumbled slightly, her heels betraying her on the slick pavement. Instinctively, I caught her by the arm. Careful, I said, steadying her. She didn't pull away immediately. Instead, she looked up at me, our faces inches apart. The city lights reflected in her eyes, and for a second, I felt the weight of every choice pressing down on me. I could have let go. I should have, but I didn't. Her hand slid down my arm, lingering at my wrist before she finally stepped back. See? She teased softly. You are useful outside of spreadsheets. We laughed, but it wasn't the same laughter we shared in the office. It was charged, trembling with something unspoken. That night, when I got home, Anna was already asleep. I stood in the kitchen, staring at my reflection in the dark window, the ghost of Elena's touch still burning on my skin. I whispered again, like I had weeks before, I haven't done anything wrong. But this time I didn't believe it. The escalation came gradually, as all forbidden things do. Small touches, a hand on my shoulder that lingered, a knee brushing mine under a conference table. Compliments whispered in moments no one else could hear. One evening, she texted me, You make marriage look tempting. Maybe I'll steal you one day. I stared at the message for what felt like hours before deleting it. But the words branded themselves into me. The first kiss wasn't planned. It was another late night, another storm, as if the universe itself conspired to trap us in these intimate bubbles. We were both exhausted, laughing at something stupid, when suddenly the laughter broke into silence. We were sitting too close, closer than we ever had before, and in that silence, the air thickened. She leaned in first, though maybe I met her halfway. I honestly don't know anymore. All I remember is the taste of wine on her lips, the shock of her warmth, the way my entire body lit up as though I had been asleep for years and had just woken up. When we pulled apart, breathless, both of us knew we had crossed the line we could never uncross. This is wrong, I whispered, my voice shaking. Then why does it feel so right? She answered, her fingers still tangled in my shirt. That was the night it began. Not the flirting, not the teasing, but the affair. And once it began, there was no stopping it. I'd like to say that after that first kiss, I pulled away, that I went home, confessed everything to Anna, begged her forgiveness, and put a stop to it before it could spiral out of control. That's the story a decent man would tell. But I'm not telling the story of a decent man.
Intelin mine.
The kiss opened a door I couldn't close. After that night, Elena, and I didn't even try to pretend. We met in quiet corners of the office, in the dim light of my car parked blocks away, in hotel rooms where the sheets smelled like bleach and secrecy. Each time, I told myself it was the last. Each time, I found myself drawn back to her like a moth to flame. The passion was unlike anything I'd felt in years. With Elena, everything was urgent, electric, forbidden. We'd barely shut the door before our hands were on each other, desperate, hungry. It wasn't just sex. It was the thrill of being wanted, of being seen, of feeling like the world had color again. At home, with Anna, the guilt was unbearable. She would smile at me over dinner, her eyes tired but warm, and I'd feel like the lowest kind of coward. She'd ask how my day was, and I'd lie, weaving stories that mixed just enough truth with deception to sound convincing. Sometimes, lying felt harder than the betrayal itself. But here's the cruel thing about infidelity. It's not only about lust, it's about need. Elena made me feel alive. She challenged me, teased me, pulled confessions out of me that I'd buried for years. She was chaos to Anna's calm, storm to her still waters. And once I tasted that storm, I couldn't go back to the quiet. One afternoon, after we'd stolen an hour in a hotel room, Elena lay beside me, her hair tangled across the pillow. She turned to me, her voice softer than I'd ever heard it. "Do you ever think about leaving her?" The question hit me like a blow. "Elena," I started, but my voice broke. "You can't keep living two lives forever," she pressed. "You think Anna doesn't notice?" "Women always notice." I closed my eyes. She was right. Anna wasn't stupid. She had grown more distant in recent weeks, her questions sharper, though she never accused me outright. Maybe she was waiting for me to tell the truth. Maybe she was pretending not to know, hoping it would go away. "I can't just walk away from her," I whispered. She's been everything to me." "And what am I?" Elena asked. The silence between us was louder than any answer. Jealousy started creeping in. Elena hated when I canceled plans because Anna needed me, or when I couldn't answer her texts late at night. She wanted more of me, all of me, but I couldn't give it. And the truth? I didn't know if I even wanted to. I was torn between two worlds, and the tearing was starting to show. One night, Anna confronted me in the gentlest way possible, which somehow made it worse. We were in bed, the lamp casting a soft glow, and she turned to me with eyes full of quiet suspicion. "You're different lately," she said. "Distant. Is there someone else?" My heart froze. This was the moment, the fork in the road. I could have told her. I could have ended it all right there, let the pieces fall where they may. Instead, I lied. "No," I said firmly, forcing my eyes to meet hers. "I've just been stressed with work." She studied me for a long moment, and I thought she would call me out. But finally, she sighed and nodded, pulling closer to me. Her trust, still intact, still clinging, stabbed me deeper than any accusation could have. The affair continued. There were moments of bliss, moments where I convinced myself I was happier than I'd ever been. And then there were mornings after, staring at Anna across the breakfast table, where I wondered who I had become. I was living two lives, and both were starting to crumble under the weight of my lies. The affair could never stay hidden forever. I knew that from the start, though I tried to bury the thought under kisses and hotel sheets. Every lie I told Anna was a crack in the foundation, and every demand Elena made widened the fault line. It was only a matter of time before everything collapsed. Started small, a misplaced text. One evening, Anna was folding laundry on the couch while I showered. My phone buzzed on the table. I'd been careless, forgetting to silence it. When I came back into the room, towel around my waist, Anna was staring at the screen. "I can still taste you. Can't wait until tomorrow."
Elena.
My blood turned cold. Anna looked up at me, her face pale, her hands trembling around the phone. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just asked, in a voice so steady it broke me more than anger ever could, "Who is she?" My mouth opened, closed, opened again. For once I had no lie ready. The truth hung heavy between us, undeniable. It's not what it looks like, I muttered weakly. The oldest, most pathetic excuse in the book. Her eyes hardened. Don't insult me. I wanted to fall at her feet, to beg, to undo everything with words that could never exist. Instead, I just stood there, drowning in silence. The next days were hell. Anna barely spoke to me, moving around the apartment like a ghost. The distance between us was physical, palpable. She slept in the guest room, and the sound of her shutting the door each night was louder than any slammed argument. Elena, meanwhile, grew restless. She knew something was wrong the moment I became distracted, quieter during our stolen hours. She found out, didn't she? Elena pressed one night, her voice sharp. She saw a message, I admitted. And I don't know what's going to happen. I confessed, running my hands through my hair. Her expression darkened. So what, you're gonna crawl back to her now? Pretend none of this happened. Elena, it's not that simple. It is that simple, she snapped. You either want me or you don't. I'm not your dirty little secret anymore. Her words cut deep because they were true. But the thought of losing Anna completely, of burning down years of love, of trust, of shared history, terrified me more than I could admit. I was trapped, and the walls were closing in. One night, Anna finally broke the silence. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the air thick with unspoken words. She set down her glass of water, her eyes piercing mine. How long? She asked. I swallowed hard. A few months. She nodded slowly, as if she'd already known. Then her voice cracked, raw and trembling. Why wasn't I enough? There it was. The question I couldn't answer. Because it wasn't about enough. It was about something else. Something selfish, something broken in me. But how do you tell that to the woman who gave you everything? I don't know, I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. Her face crumpled, and for the first time she cried. Not the loud, raging tears of fury, but the quiet, devastating sobs of someone whose world had collapsed. And I realized in that moment, betrayal isn't loud. It's quiet. It's watching the person you love break in silence because of you. Elena, on the other hand, demanded clarity. You need to choose, she told me one evening, her tone final. I won't be second place. Not anymore. Her ultimatum twisted the knife. Choose? How could I? One woman was my past, my home, the life I'd built. The other was fire, passion, the life I thought I'd been missing. I tried to stall, to buy time, but time was running out. The jealousy grew unbearable. Anna began asking where I was at night. Elena accused me of stringing her along. Both women's eyes, one full of sorrow, the other full of fury, haunted me. And in the middle there was me, a coward, pulled in two directions, destroying everything I touched. The climax was inevitable. Anna showed up at my office one evening, unannounced. She'd never done that before. She walked in just as Elena was leaning across my desk, her hand brushing mine in a way that was unmistakable. The look on Anna's face when she saw us. Shock, pain, betrayal crystallized into one silent scream. Will haunt me forever. She turned and walked out without a word. I chased after her, calling her name, but she didn't stop. She didn't even look back. When I returned upstairs, Elena was standing there, arms crossed, her expression unreadable. Well, she said coldly, I guess it's out now. And for the first time, I hated her. Not because she'd done anything wrong, but because she had forced me to face what I'd done. Because with Anna gone, with the lie exposed, all I had left was the mess I'd made. The night Anna caught me with Elena was the beginning of the end. But the true collapse didn't happen in a single moment. It unfolded like an avalanche, slow at first, then unstoppable. Anna didn't come home that night. I called her again and again, my voice hoarse, my hands shaking, but she didn't answer. By morning, I found a short message on the kitchen counter in her handwriting. I need time. Don't call me. My chest hollowed out reading those words. The silence of the apartment was unbearable, every corner echoing with her absence. The coffee mug she'd left in the sink, the pillow still carrying the faint scent of her shampoo. They felt like accusations. I should have chased her. I should have dropped everything and begged her to listen. Instead, I went to Elena. She opened the door of her apartment with a smirk that quickly faded when she saw my face. She left, didn't she? Elena asked, her voice almost triumphant. I nodded, unable to speak. Then it's done, she said, stepping closer, sliding her arms around my neck. Now you're mine. For a moment, I let her kiss me. For a moment, I let myself believe I could build something new out of the ruins. But even as her lips pressed against mine, I felt nothing, or worse, regret, because what I wanted in that moment wasn't Elena's fire. It was Anna's quiet warmth. I pulled away, breathless, guilt choking me. Elena, I don't know if I can do this. Her expression hardened instantly. Don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare tell me you want to run back to her after everything we've done. Elena, No, she snapped, her eyes blazing. You don't get to hesitate now.
You chose me.
She's gone. I'm all you have left. Her words were meant to be comforting, but instead they felt like shackles. The days that followed were chaos. Anna stayed with a friend, cutting off nearly all contact. When she finally agreed to meet, it was at a quiet cafe across town, a neutral ground. I remember sitting across from her, my hands trembling as I held my coffee cup. She looked thinner, her face pale, her eyes red-rimmed but steady. Why? She asked again, her voice barely above a whisper. I tried to explain. The passion, the emptiness I hadn't even known I was feeling, the way Elena made me feel alive. But the words sounded hollow, selfish, even to my own ears. So I wasn't enough, she said again, shaking her head. I gave you everything, and you threw it away for what? Excitement. Her voice cracked, and for the first time, she let her anger show. You disgust me. The words hit harder than a slap. I still love you, I said desperately. I want to fix this. She laughed bitterly, tears streaking her cheeks. You don't get to break me and then act like a hero for wanting to put the pieces back together. She stood up then, leaving me at the table, the untouched coffee cooling between us. And just like that, she was gone. Meanwhile, Elena grew more demanding. With Anna out of the picture, she expected me to move in, to start a new life with her immediately. But the more time I spent with her outside the shadows, the more the cracks showed. The passion that had burned so brightly in secrecy now felt suffocating under the harsh light of reality. She was jealous, possessive, quick to anger. Every fight spiraled into accusations. You still love her, don't you? You're only here because she left you. You'll never choose me fully. And the truth was, she was right. The final breaking point came one night after another fight. Elena was pacing her apartment, shouting, tears in her eyes. You're pathetic, she spat. Too cowardly to fight for me, too weak to let her go. Do you know what you are? You're nothing. You're a man who wanted to taste fire but couldn't handle the burn. I stood there, numb, her words slicing through me. And for the first time, I didn't argue, because she was right. I left her apartment that night and didn't look back. I wish I could say I went straight to Anna, begged her forgiveness, rebuilt our life. But real life isn't a fairy tale. By the time I realized what I truly wanted, what I had thrown away, it was already too late. Anna filed for separation a month later. She didn't scream, didn't beg me to stay. She simply handed me the papers with a trembling hand, her eyes hollow, and said, I can't do this anymore. And just like that, the life I had built for years was gone. The climax wasn't a single explosion. It was the slow implosion of everything I loved, leaving nothing but ashes. And I had no one to blame but myself. People like to believe betrayal ends with drama, with screaming matches, broken plates, ultimatums. But that's not true. Betrayal ends with silence, with absence, with the echo of someone's footsteps fading away and never coming back. Anna moved out 2 weeks after filing for separation. She didn't take everything, just enough to start over somewhere else. Watching her pack her clothes, her books, the small things that made our apartment feel like home, was like being forced to witness my own execution, one box at a time. She didn't cry. I did. When she left, she paused at the door, her back to me. For a moment, I thought she might turn, might offer one last look, one last chance. Instead, she whispered, almost to herself, "You could have had forever, and you threw it away." And then she was gone. Elena tried to reach out for a while, calling, texting, even showing up at my office once. But I was done. The fire that once felt irresistible now only burned my skin. The passion had curdled into something darker, something toxic. I told her the truth. "I don't love you. I never did. I loved how you made me feel. That's not the same." She slapped me. I didn't fight back. I didn't even flinch. I let her leave, and that was the last time I saw her. Life after both of them was empty. The apartment was too quiet. My days blurred into nights. I threw myself into work, stayed later than ever. But even there, the whispers followed me. People knew. They always do. I caught the glances, the pity, the judgment. At night, I'd lie awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. The first laugh with Elena, the first kiss, the first lie I told Anna, the way her voice broke when she asked why she wasn't enough. Those memories don't fade. They carve themselves into you, a permanent scar. Months passed. Anna didn't come back. She didn't answer my messages, the few I dared to send. She was building a new life without me, one I had no place in. Sometimes I saw her updates online, smiling with friends, traveling, her eyes brighter than they'd been in years. I was glad for her, and it gutted me, because she deserved that happiness. And I had been the reason she lost it, at least for a time. People often ask me now, those who know parts of the story, if I regret it. And the truth is complicated. Do I regret the affair? Yes. I regret every lie, every tear I caused, every moment of trust one shattered. I regret watching the woman I loved walk away because I was too weak to protect what we had. But I don't regret what it taught me. It taught me that passion without loyalty is empty, that desire without integrity destroys everything it touches, that the thrill of being wanted means nothing compared to the quiet certainty of being loved. It taught me who I really am, not the man I thought I was, not the husband Anna deserved, but a man capable of betrayal, of selfishness, of cowardice. And maybe that's the hardest part. Not losing Anna, not ending things with Elena, but facing myself in the mirror and knowing the truth. I live alone now. I haven't tried to start another relationship. I don't trust myself enough yet. Sometimes I imagine what I'd say to Anna if I ever saw her again. Would I beg? Would I apologize? Would I just thank her for the years she gave me? I don't know. What I do know is this. If you ever find yourself where I stood, on the edge of desire and betrayal, turn back. Don't step over that line, because once you do, there's no going back. And one day, you'll be left like me, with nothing but memories, regrets, and the sound of a door closing forever. Epilogue. This is my confession, my story, my mistake. Not a tale of passion or of triumph or of romance, but of betrayal and the ashes it leaves behind. And if telling it saves even one person from doing what I did, then maybe the ruin of my life will mean something.